Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Your superhero is here. Please excuse the video quality, 'cause my webcam's a bit older. So, yeah, got more copies of my book again, which I'll show you at some other point, like I said, although you've probably already seen it by now anyway, so whatever. But back to Friday the 13th. The next one I have to watch really is Jason X, because Freddy vs. Jason, I think, came. You see, I own them all. Batter's freaking dying, man. Freaking dying here. Let's see. Yeah, Freddy vs. Jason is 2003. Jason X is 2002. So yeah, Jason X is the next one to watch actually. Which makes sense because it's really the last one in the continuity, more or less. No, Paramount did the first 8 films, and then New Line Cinema did the next 3. And then what is it? Something Sands or something did the reboot in 2009. It's a production company. Can't think of the name. I just think of it. So again, I really like the series just because like the spoilers for the Friday the 13th series. Again, you know, 3 videos on the channel, counting this one so far in this new iteration, and it's just Friday the 13th. You know, gotta love Zombie Jason. I love the connectivity. I love how they just went through and they just built off the previous entries and they made it like all canon. Although, obviously, the Friday the 13th, the first one took place 5 years before, like 2 months before the second one, and then parts 3 and 4 took place like a day after each other after part two. It was part two, part three, part four. All right. Friday the 13th takes place in like 1980 or something, right? 1980 or present day. Friday the 13th Part 2 starts out 2 months later, and then the final girl from the first movie, gets killed. And then that's just at the beginning of Part 2. And then at Part 2 after that, it's like 2 years later, and the full movie of Part 2 plays out. Then Part 3 takes place like the day after Part 2. And then Part 4 takes place like the day after that, or something like that. So 2 through 4 take place over like a couple days span, but obviously that was like what they came up with in terms of like part two, then part three, then part four. The decisions they made with each movie made this continuity, and then they follow along with that. Like part four had like all like part like 3 and 4 had like clips from the other movies, and then part five had Corey Feldman when he was like a little bit older, but it was like a flashback. It was like in a dream, which was pretty cool. Like to see that like scene in the beginning, and then part six switched up the character for Tommy Jarvis, again the adult character, because I guess the first adult actor, he like became like a born again Christian or something. That's why he didn't want to take the role up again. And yeah, I do. Out of all of them, I enjoy them all really. Even part five, which you might not really fall into because it wasn't like potentially because it might be the odd duck in the series, sort of. And that's just kind of like just not really in my opinion, but just kind of just things I gathered just throughout. my introduction to the series to this point. But it's not like the Lost World, Jurassic Park, which I love the novel, but I finally I had to watch the movie a couple times when I finally got a way to see it again that I appreciated it more for what it was. Even though I do love the novel, I wish they could have adapted it best. But that's just the adaptations for you. It almost looks like a Z, doesn't it? Uh, I can't, whatever. So, 10 minutes later. But, I think probably enjoyed part six the most once I'd seen them all. The weakest one really is part eight. I mean, just, yeah, I don't know. Just, you know, but if I can give my opinion on each one as quick as I can, really. Part one, it's got kind of kind of a B movie quality to it, at least with the, like the camera and all that stuff. It's got its own like flair to it. Part two was, about the same, but it was kind of more like maybe more modernized, I guess, or more in line with what the series would become with all like the teens, and they just get slaughtered like all eventually with Jason killing everybody, and I feel so bad for the dude who walks on his hands because you just know he was opening up, just like in part six where the guy's like, "My God, can't take any more of this," and he had to say that as soon as Jason was like, as far as cinematography is concerned, and the editing of the film, that Jason like was revived by the freaking lightning rod or by that metal face post or whatever Tommy stabbed him with, you know. Just those kills like that, and like how they introduce characters, like they introduced that guy in part six who's like, woman just ever should stay in the kitchen or whatever, and like he's like hacking with a machete and the machete. When this machete shows up, that these people are gonna get killed anyway, but it's just like you're waiting for the machete to show up, right? It just I noticed it just shows up there. It's not there, and somebody has to have the machete. I mean, I don't know. I haven't really been to New Jersey, and I'm sure it's not like, an odd to just have people hacking with machetes in New Jersey, but the idea to me, I don't know. I don't know, it's just interesting. But, you know, freaking, but I can't stand the kid in part six who's always making the kid with black hair is making the jokes like dead meat. I can't stand that kid. The humor is cool. I appreciate it's fine, but that kid I just don't like that character. Like there's one segment where he's got like he's in like the scene like two shots, like one shot and then like a couple minutes later, and then there's another shot. Whatever. They could have just used one shot, and it was just awful. No offense to the kid personally, but it's awful, totally useless. Um, part four. Teddy, it's like, where's the fucking corkscrew? You know, part five again. It was interesting. You just see all the deaths, but like with like just a handoff camera when you couldn't see who it was. You know, part seven was Zombie Jason. Part eight with the like this kind of slick looking Jason was cool. You know, um, it's funny when I read up things about the continuity, how people actually like broke the continuity down, and it took and like essentially like Friday the 13th Part 8 takes place in like 1999 or something like that, and Jason Goes to Hell the Final Friday. I believe they said like takes place around 2002, like when you like put the continuity together, and they're like somebody was saying like the people from like Part 8, like the kids like the girl playing the guitar, like metal and all that. The kid filming like videos that was like That was like 2000 or something, 1998, 2000. Like music hasn't changed in like 30 years, which is possible. It could have been possible in terms of 1989. I mean, so you can't even count it as a transgression because nobody knows when the world's really going to change. I mean, you get things like COVID that just come out of nowhere, right? And people just something new comes around and they just jump on the wagon for whatever reason, on the train because they wanted something new or what's happened in life is just boring or whatever. You don't know, you never know. Things change, you know. It's just what it is. I mean, there's nothing malicious about it, and there's nothing innocent about it either. It just is. You can't make judgments on it. It's just what it is. So, Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday. Because it was made with a different studio, it probably is hard to really say if it is still in the original continuity. It was produced by Sean S. Cunningham. You know, Sean S. Cunningham, who was a producer on like the first one. So I mean, Friday the 13th. So at least there's like connectivity there, and because part eight, the ending obviously is Jason takes like an acid bath. So so it probably is in a different continuity, honestly. They freaking just Jason just gets blowed up. Take that shit out of here. It's like, hey, clean that shit up, okay? Freaking, that's great. This guy's deader than shit. Scratch that last part from the record. Scratch that last comment off the record. I don't think so. You know, it was I wouldn't really, again, like if I was holding these things in any sort of hierarchy, uh, the ones that, like I said, probably the weakest one in some ways was part eight, you know, but there'll be a lot of like judgments and reorganizations to make and stuff. And I'm going to end this at 13 minutes because that would kind of make sense, wouldn't it? So I'll be back with some fresh content, hopefully.